Good morning, Hollywood stars. This is Mrs. Woram. I'm going to continue reading our story, Toby's Story, by W. Bruce Cameron. And I do have permission from Scholastic to be reading this to you. So we are left off and we are now on chapter 7. The last time we read, we found out that Toby adores and loves Eddie. Why does he like Eddie so much? Could it be the tasty treats that he received? So we are going to continue reading on chapter 7. Here we go. After Mona and I had played training, she left for the day. That night, Patsy fed me and petted me goodbye. Once she left, I lay still in my bed for a while, but I couldn't go to sleep. So I got up and stretched and wandered to the door to my bedroom. I pushed at it with one of my paws, and it swung open. Outside, the hallway was dark and quiet. It wasn't like it was in the daytime, with people walking up and down, some briskly and quickly on their feet, some slowly in those tall cages they call walkers. There were no carts rattling by, and no people in chairs. In fact, there was nobody in sight. All that running today in the grass outside had made me remember the ranch and how I used to sleep in a pile with all my brothers and sisters, cuddled close to my mother's side. I didn't feel like sleeping alone. Why should I, when I had so many friends? I trotted down the halls until I reached a familiar room, Granddad's. The door was open with a crack. I stuck my nose into the crack so that I could sniff up Granddad's smell. That made the door open wider, so naturally I went inside. Granddad was laying in the bed with his light on over his head. He had a book propped up on his chest. When the door opened, he glanced over and smiled. "Hey there, Toby boy," he said. I wagged to hear my name and the affection in his voice. I knew I was welcome, so I hopped up onto the end of his bed, turned a circle a few times, flopped down next to his feet, and sighed with contentment. "You're telling me it's my time to turn out the light," Granddad said. But he put the book on the bedside table and reached up with the touch of the lamp next to him. The light vanished. He shifted and settled into bed, and I waited until I was laying still. Then I wiggled closer so that his feet would keep me warm. It felt better to sleep like this than all alone in my bed. Did that mean I belonged to Granddad now? It didn't seem quite right. I liked Granddad, and I was happy to be curled up next to his feet, but he wasn't the one who fed me. Mona and sometimes Patsy did that. They both petted me and praised me. Mona took me outside to the lawn to do training game. But then they left. It happened every day. They left and I stayed. Granddad didn't leave. He stayed. And then there was Eddie, of course. He would feed me bacon, and my tail twitched a little at the thought. But it didn't seem likely that I belonged to Eddie. I didn't see him every day, although I was happy whenever I did. I liked my new home. I really did, especially now that my feet felt better and I could run all I liked. But it was confusing. There were so many people here: Mona, Patsy, Granddad, Tyler, Eddie, Fran. Which one did I belong to? I fell asleep wondering. In the morning, Granddad stirred and I wiggled up to lick his face. Someone knocked on the door. "Come in," Granddad called sleepingly, pushing me back with one hand and patting me with the other at the same time. "Excuse me, have you seen Toby?" "There you are, Mona. Come on in." "I'm so sorry. Did he bother you?" "No, no, don't be sorry," Granddad said. I enjoyed his company. Mona scooped me up. "Toby, I'm taking you out, and then we're going to work on something new." Mona took me outside to squat. Then she brought me back inside and flipped my bowl. Once I'd eaten, she clipped a leash on my collar. "Come on, Toby, new lesson today." She took me into the room I hadn't seen before. There was a bed in it, and someone was laying in the bed. I perked up as I sniffed, smelling a familiar smell. Patsy. Okay, Toby, get on up, Mona said. We know you can do it. She patted the bed, and I jumped up beside Patsy. Down, Toby, Mona said. She took a treat out of her pocket. We were doing training? That was strange. Why are we doing training in bed? But that treat smelled very interesting, so I did it, and I laid down. Good boy, Toby, Mona said. She gave me a treat. Excellent. Good. Now try still, said Patsy. Patsy, I'd been busy with the treat. I hadn't greeted her properly. I jumped up, threw myself across her body to get to her face. I licked her cheeks and her chin until her neck to show her how much I liked her. She pushed me back with one hand. No, Toby, no, she said sternly. I sat down in astonishment. No? Why? Why was she saying no? I was beginning to learn the word, along with other ones Mona used in training. I did not like it. It seemed even worse the stay. Why would anyone say no to licking? A striped blanket was covering Patsy's legs and feet. I pounced on it and grabbed it with my teeth, giving it a good shake. Once Patsy saw that I was ready to play, she wouldn't say no anymore. We would have fun. Toby, no, Mona said. I paused with the blanket still gripped between my teeth. Both of them saying no? What was going on here? Toby, lie still, Mona said, reaching out for me. I dropped the blanket and jumped away from her hands and leaped off the bed. If Patsy did not want to play with the blanket, if I'd have to find something else, I tore off towards the small room in my bed. Beside the bed was a blanket of balls and toys, good for chewing, also for chasing. I grabbed a rubber ring, trotted back to my room where I left Mona and Patsy. Now we can play. I jumped up on the bed, showed Patsy the toy, and she sighed. Oh, boy. This really isn't going to work out. I dropped the ring on the blanket next to Patsy, but for some strange reason, she didn't want to play with it. She just laid there. Was there something wrong with her? Had she been chewing on her feet? What's this? Asked a new voice from the doorway, and they all looked that way. Fran was standing there. She was frowning again. Training, Patsy said, sitting up. I picked up the chew toy and offered it to Patsy again. Surely she'd figure it out this time. Fran shook her head. You can't train a beagle not to be a beagle, she said. It was actually much fun on the bed since Patsy kept ignoring the toy. I jumped off. Mona tried to grab me, and I dodged her hands and ran past Fran's feet. Then Mona and I had a great game of chase up and down the hallways. I love playing with Mona. But Mona wasn't there all the time. Patsy was usually around in the day, but often she sat in a chair at the desk and tapped away on a plastic keyboard that did not even smell interesting. When she did that, she shooed me away. Not now, Toby. I'm working, she'd say. I had soon come to understand that working meant no fun. Luckily, there were other people to see. I visit Granddad a lot, and sometimes Tyler was there too. As I trotted up and down the hallways, I got to know others. So who does he really belong to? How's he doing with that training? We'll continue. There was one big room with several windows where there were soft couches and comfy chairs that had a lot of sunlight. There was a good room to visit. People were usually sitting on the couches watching black plastic box that blared out sound and showed moving pictures. I sniffed at it a time or two, but the pictures did not smell, so they were not real. Frankly, I did not understand why people liked to look at that thing so much when they could have been chasing a ball or chewing a stick or petting a dog. But people are funny like that. When I trotted into the room, there was always someone who would pet me or invite me to sit on the couch beside him or her. Some of my friends, of course, made me even more interested in saying hello to them. One woman was always there. She sat in a particular corner of the couch and didn't say much to anyone. Dorothy, wouldn't you like to come down the hall to the craft session? People would say, stopping to talk to her. Dorothy, isn't it time for your physical therapy? Dorothy, what if I take you outside in your wheelchair? That's how I figured out her name was Dorothy. People used her name with her, just like Mona and my name with me when we were doing training. I wonder if these people were trying to train Dorothy. She didn't look like she enjoyed it much, more than I did. They probably needed to feed her better treats. Dorothy didn't usually answer the people. She didn't even seem to talk much. But she would say my name when I came by and reached down to rub my ears. Her fingers were very strong and they were gentle and they would hit the right spot. I'd sit down beside her and lean my head into her head. One day, when I came for my usual visit, Dorothy showed me something in her hand, a ball, a small rubber ball. My tail began to wag back and forth. The balls were amazing to chase. You like that, don't you, little Toby? Dorothy said very quietly. All right, then. She threw the ball to me. It did not go very far. It hit the wall and rolled a little distance and then bounced weakly off a chair with the wheels. Oh my, said the person in the chair. I chased the ball down, and it was so close that I actually ran too far and had to skid to stop, turned around and grabbed it with my mouth. Triumphantly, I brought the ball back to Dorothy. Dorothy threw it a few more times. It wasn't like chasing a ball outside with Mona. Mona could throw a ball. So it went nearly all the way across the lawn like she did. But when Dorothy was throwing it, the ball would only go a short distance. Once I had to chase it under the leg of a table. More than once, I dodged around a few people, pushing other odd cages that Granddad liked to use. All that slowed me down. But I would get the ball each time, brought it back to Dorothy, then licked her shoe to say goodbye, and hurried off to see more friends. Patsy was standing at the door of the room when I went out of the hallway. Well, look at that, she murmured to herself when she was smiling. After that, Dorothy usually had the little ball with her when I came by to visit. She got better and better at throwing it, too. It was more fun to chase it when she could put more power behind the throw. It still bounced off chairs and walls and zigzagged under tables, though. Once, one more than once, I had to bury under the couch to get it and return it to Dorothy's hand. I always found it, though. The ball can never escape me. After a few weeks, I have gotten to know Dorothy. She surprised me a little. When I came to visit her, she was not sitting in her usual corner of the couch. Instead, she was in one of those chairs with wheels. Patsy happened to come into my room. Hi, Dorothy, she said cheerfully. Do you want to throw the ball for Toby today? I know he looks forward to it. Outside? Dorothy said briefly. I want to throw the ball for Toby outside in the grass where he can really run. I could see the surprise in Patsy's face, the way her body stiffened for the moment. Then she smiled. What a superb idea, she said. Toby will love that. Come, Toby. Mona had brought me. Come. I knew that meant I was supposed to stick close to the person who said it, and there would be a reward. So I stayed right at Patsy's heels as she pushed Dorothy in the rolling chair. Together, we headed out onto the lawn. The lawn? I love the lawn. I raced in a quick circle. I figured out that was not against the rules to come, since I was right back to Patsy. I waited for my treat. Instead, Dorothy threw the ball. Excellent! This was nearly as good as a treat. There was so much more room for the ball to go bouncing and rolling over the grass. Dorothy had gotten better and better at throwing it, too. I tore after it joyfully. It was more fun when I didn't have to dodge around feet and beneath tables, when I could just run and run with my speed, my paws. Oh, they were so capable. What a throw! Patsy said when I snatched the ball in midair and swerved to bring it back to Dorothy in her chair. Good boy, Toby. I knew I was a good boy. Chasing was good. Running was good. Catching the ball and bringing it back was extremely good. I dropped the ball at Dorothy's feet, wagging so hard that my whole rump could feel my whole rump wiggle. Dorothy leaned down to pick up the ball and threw it again. So, do you think Toby's doing his job? Is he making a difference at this nursing home facility? Because it seems like Fran might not be so happy with him and not sure that this is the right fit. So, is it actually working? I don't know. I mean, I do notice that he did get Dorothy to move from her spot, and Dorothy is becoming more lively. And maybe her physical therapy that could tie in with using Toby. I sure hope Toby pulls through, don't you? All right. Until next time. Thanks, friends. Bye bye.